Stop. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Question one, public question one is a constitutional amendment to change the state's inhumane and antiquated bail bonding system. The ACLU of New Jersey, which supports this reform, says that nearly 3/4 of people in New Jersey jails are awaiting trial rather than serving a sentence. Okay. I wish I read this before. 3/4 of the people in jail are awaiting trial rather than serving a sentence. Many who are not considered dangerous are held for months or even years because they cannot afford to post bail. Governor Christie correctly compared this system to the debtor's prison of the Victorian age. This amendment would allow judges to keep defendants in jail if they are a flight risk or a threat to the community, but it would also allow pretrial release of lower-risk defendants who cannot afford bail. Vote yes on public question one. I'm not telling you what to do. This is just from what I'm reading. This was in the New York Times. Public question two is a constitutional amendment.
That's in New Jersey?
Yeah, that was the one in New Jersey. So the way it read, though, on the ballot was that the way it read on the ballot, from what I read, and I read it a long time, then when I came out of the booth, there were like, there's a line of 7 people behind me, so I felt kind of bad. But the way I read it was that if you are in jail and you can't post bail, should you have a quick trial? I don't know. It wasn't worded the way this is worded here in the Times. See what happens when you're not an informed voter. Public question two is a constitutional amendment that would create a New Jersey state constitution, obviously, that would create a continuous source of revenue drawn from the state's corporation business tax to replenish a popular but now largely broke environmental program that acquires open space, preserves farmlands, and protects historical sites. Once space is gone, it is virtually impossible to get back. This measure has a bipartisan support from legislators, but not from Governor Christie. And they're saying vote yes, according to the New York Times, on public question two. So from what I remember, that the corporations are charged at a 4% tax rate to preserve the open space and the farmlands and protect these historical sites. And that this, voting yes, if this wins, would charge tax the corporations at 6% rather than 4%. And I'm all for that. Public question one, I didn't understand that.
You see that prison thing?
Yeah.
Prison is a big business.
Of course it is.
So, to me, that they want to keep the status quo. Because if you release half of these people too early, who's going to do the work?
Well, these are, and when they say prison, are they talking about state prison? Are they talking about county jails? Or are they talking about city, lockdown places? So, I guess that would have... So the issue was a Green Acres water supply and floodplain protection. This is from Vote Smart. Public question 1 and 2.
Yeah, there was actually a broken machine at the Prospect Park Church, District 19. Paper ballots were being used this morning. This is from Maplewoodian.com. No word on whether the machine will be fixed.
Well, I didn't deal with a paper ballot. I'll find out one day when I get really interested. Why? So each precinct had its own, right, voting booth. So let's say the voting booth, and there's a 5th precinct, and I believe the 15th, and maybe 2 other ones that are all inside of that space. So what if one of those booths dies? You mean I can't go use the one on the other side of the room?
No.
Why?
Because you're not registered. That's a different district. It's 2 different districts in the polling booth.
Town is only like 2.6 square miles. Really?
Yeah. But you want to hear this? This is interesting.
What are you looking at?
This is MapleWoodian.com.
Okay.
There's a Halloween buyback program for your candy.
I thought we were doing politics. I didn't hear about buyback programs for candy.
It's no, but this is interesting though. Too many leftovers Halloween treats. Get cash for your candy with the Halloween candy buyback program. Find a local dentist who will pay for your extra goodies. South Orange Dental Center, 481 South Orange Avenue.
Buy back the candy.
Smile Solutions, 381 Chestnut Street in Union. Garden State Dental, 236 East Westfield Avenue. American Dental Center, 1441 Morris Avenue in Union. And Tavor Mina Dentistry at 96 Milburn Avenue in Milburn. You know, this is really fascinating. Think about this. All right. So just think about what to me this is a conflict of interest. Why do you think that is?
What? Which one? What's the conflict? Buying back the candy?
Yeah, buying back the candy from.
Why is that a conflict of interest?
I just want to see how, you know, if you thinking along the same lines that I'm thinking.
Well, rarely do we think along the same lines. But what's the snag here?
Okay, all right. So listen to this.
A dentist buying back the candy?
Yeah, dentist buying back candies.
Okay. I mean, probably, I don't think they're going to eat them. I mean, they could.
Okay. But think about this. Why do you go to the dentist?
Generally because you have issues with your teeth and among
cavities,
right? Correct.
What does candy cause?
Decay in your mouth, yes.
And cavities.
Right.
So what the dentist is actually doing, the dentist is saying, you know what? Come to me. I give you candy for free so you can gain more cavities so you can come back to me.
Oh, come on.
What?
Let me get, let's stay on. That's not how I'm saying that.
Yeah, but I want
like
people
saying, come to my auto shop and I'm going to put some nails in your tires so I can fix your tires.
You know what it is? You know what that's like? You know what that's like? That's like people getting caught with steroids, right? And you have a track and field coach saying to the people, listen, for all the steroids that you're not going to use, I'll buy back those steroids from you. You know what they're going to do with the steroids if they're buying it back from you, right? There's a great possibility they're going to use it.
Oh, that's like saying we have a gun buyback program, so we're going to only buy back the guns so we could redistribute them later on.
So what are they buying? What are they buying back the candy for? Just to take it off,
get it away from people, so they can give up the candy and they'd rather have the money instead. And I mean, who knows how much they're buying? I wouldn't take that serious. It sounds cute.
It is serious.
I want to share this. You didn't hear about this thing in Melbourne, the town next door? It's a Saturday evening Facebook endorsement upends Melbourne Board of Education race. In Melbourne, New Jersey, a controversial Facebook endorsement posted on Saturday by resident Dr. Eric Joseph has upended the race for the Melbourne Board of Education after being shared on Dr. Yoti Sharma from Melbourne Board of Education's Facebook page by the candidate herself. While the candidate has since deleted the post and Dr. Joseph has since edited his original post, the original post has sent shockwaves through this tight-knit Melbourne community just days before the heated Melbourne Board of Ed election comes to a close. In his original post, listen to this, Dr. Joseph wrote in part, "Meet the candidates running for the Melbourne Board of Ed. Here's my 2 cents. Then he went on to attack incumbent Regina Truitt as a fake, phony fraud. Oh, I can't take that phone call. Can you believe that? A fake, phony fraud, not to mention rude and insensitive.
Is that the original post you're reading? Or?
No, I'm reading the article about the post, but the post is there.
Okay.
A fake, phony fraud, not to mention rude and insensitive. Candid Jesse Liu as a communist lover of world history over U.S. history that could benefit from English lessons and not a Board of Ed seat. And then describe Richard Gray as having no balls, quote unquote. Dr. Joseph also expressed positive thoughts regarding Sharma, Gomez, James, and Resnick. For her part, Sharma shared Dr. Joseph's post on these other people's page, writing another great endorsement. Thank you, Mr. Eric Joseph. The reaction on Facebook was fast and furious. Resident Kalani wrote, there are plenty awful things to say about well-intentioned citizens willing to volunteer their time for our kids. This kind of endorsement is very discouraging. Dr. Sharma attempted to justify the sharing of the Joseph post. I was just referring to a comment on STEM about me as Board of Ed members, and we will both have to accept both positive and negative feedback. So at least in our community, it didn't get this ugly.
So he was writing one of those op-ed pieces.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't even an op-ed. It's on his own Facebook.
He wrote it on his Facebook page. He was endorsing Sharma.
He was Eric Joseph. Meet the candidates running for Milburn. Here's the Facebook page. Here's my 2 cents. 1, the incumbent is a fake, phony fraud, not to mention rude and insensitive. 2, there's a communist lover in the world of history over U.S. history that can benefit from English lessons and not a Board of Ed seat. See, he didn't name names. Jody Sharma took the ridiculous one-on-one initiative by the horns, opposed it as an advocate of STEM. She's got my votes. Jane Gomez is a class act, bright and full of experience and had good ideas. She's got my vote. James so-and-so appears to understand the financial conundrum. Vote worthy. And then people, made comments on that Facebook page.
Well,
it could get ugly in these towns. What if they just consolidated all these districts and just had one big board for Melbourne, Maplewood, South Orange, West Orange, Newark, one big board of education? What do you think about that? How would that work out?
What was that? Say that again?
We just had consolidated all the districts and got rid of all these tiny school boards and had one big county-wide board.
It's not going to work.
Why is that?
Because the ideas and ideology in all these different tongues are totally different. It's just not going to work. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to go to my pet peeve. What is that?
I don't want to talk about your pet peeve, but go ahead, yes.
Okay, suppose some communities are against leveling.
Of course.
Right?
Right.
And Melbourne, as an example, is against leveling because they figure all their students can learn and all their students can achieve at the highest standard possible. And the community of South Orange, the diverse community of South Orange, decides that, no, I don't want my kids in with those other kids.
So I'll send them to school in Melbourne.
No, you can't send them to school in Melbourne.
Why not?
You can't send them wherever you want to.
Well, if you made an open border, there's a possibility. I mean, we're just brainstorming.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Those
So
people in Melbourne, they want no part of that.
Now, here we got some breaking news here. Essex County election results 2014. Here are the unofficial results of Tuesday's local government elections and school elections in Essex County. Winning candidates are designated with a check mark. Asterisks denote incumbents. Guess who the county executive is?
DiVincenzo.
Okay.
Yeah.
The freeholders.
I know my boy Jones didn't win.
Gil Johnson, Lebby Jones, I kept saying that name. Patricia Siebold, Ricardo Alonso, John Anello, Ryan Funch, and Adam Kramer. If you want to follow with me, I'm at newjersey.com, Essex. District County freeholder Rolando Arcelis Tejada and Raul Lopez. District 2 County freeholder, oh wow, look at this, 1 3-year term, Gary Jones. Jean Lamoth.
Gary Jones?
Yes.
He won?
That's what it says.
No. You got to look.
These are the unofficial results.
You got to look at that carefully. Hold up. Let me see.
Look at this.
New Jersey election. Where are you?
When I'm at New Jersey.